I killed my own reflection that night, staring into the cracked motel mirror until the woman looking back wasn't me anymore. 7 words from a dying con man's lips. Swap with the bitch who stole my life. And suddenly, I was Esther no longer, but trapped in the skin of a stranger who'd clawed her way to the top on my family's blood money. My kin, those smiling vipers in pressed suits and pearls, had framed me for Dad's embezzlement a decade ago, shipping me off to rot in some godforsaken Texas pen while they gorged on the fortune.
Now.
Body switched and boiling with a rage that tasted like battery acid, I was coming home, not as the broken daughter they discarded, but as Vanessa Hale, the golden girl they'd always wished I'd been. And God help them, I was going to make them beg for the seed and ticket they'd given me as a parting gift. It started in that sweltering Houston lockdown, the kind where the air hangs heavy with regret and the screams of lifers echo like bad country tunes. I'd been Esther Klein for 28 years, good girl from a Rust Belt Ohio town, the one who polished her halo while her family polished their lies. Dad was the kingpin of Klein Investments, a Wall Street wannabe who'd built an empire on shady real estate flips and insider trades that could have greased the wheels of half the Fortune 500. Mom played the gracious hostess, all Southern drawl and pearl necklaces, while my brother, Harlan, the eldest, slithered through law school on Daddy's dime, dreaming of senatorships. And me, I was the fixer, the quiet one who balanced the books after hours, making the numbers dance so no one asked questions. But questions came anyway. One humid July dawn in 2015, the feds kicked in our door like it was a bad 80s cop show. Dad's laptop, hidden in my room during one of his just borrow it
moments,
spilled the beans, millions siphoned from pension funds, laundered through fake charities. Harlan swore he'd seen me typing late nights. Mom wept about how I'd always been ungrateful. They pinned it all on me, the loyal daughter who'd covered their asses for years. Dad, he took the easy out. A .38 to the temple before the cuffs clicked.
Suicide.
They called it. Convenient. The trial was a circus. Harlan testified with those puppy dog eyes, painting me as the black sheep who'd snapped under pressure. Mom clutched her rosary, whispering to reporters about my troubled youth. I got 25 to life in Huntsville, a seed packet of heirloom tomatoes from Mom's garden, plant something good, honey, and a one-way Greyhound ticket to nowhere. Start over, the judge said, like it was that simple. My family? They kept the mansion in Greenwich, the Hamptons Beach House, and Klein Investments rebranded as Hale Holdings under Harlan's golden touch. He married Vanessa, the wasp princess from Yale, and they popped out heirs like champagne corks. Prison chews you up slow. I learned to spot the snakes, the ones who whisper deals in the laundry room, trading hits for heroin. That's where I met Reggie Voss, a lifer with eyes like chipped obsidian and a laugh that rattled the bars. Ex-con artist. He'd fleeced billionaires before a double cross landed him inside. We bonded over smuggled cigarettes and stories of betrayal. Family's the worst kind of poison. Kid, he'd rasp, coughing up tar. They smile while they gut ya. Reggie had a secret, buried deeper than Jimmy Hoffa's ghost, a black market mystic from the bayou who'd peddled soul swaps to desperate marks.
Voodoo.
Reggie called it psychedelics and hypnosis twisted with old Creole rites. He'd used it once, back in '98, to slip into a rival's skin during a heist. Worked like a charm until the body rejected him, frying his nerves.
Now,
cancer was eating him from the inside, and he wanted out clean. You got fire, Esther. Use it. On his last breath. In the infirmary shadows. He pressed a vial into my palm, swamp water and secrets, and muttered those 7 words. Swap with the bitch who stole my life.
Vanessa Hale.
Harlan's wife. The one who'd stolen Reggie's score years back by tipping off the cops anonymously, claiming it as her own moral high ground. Reggie had the ritual mapped out, a lock of her hair, snagged from a salon tip. My blood. And the vial under a blood moon. I dosed myself in the chapel that night. The prison's concrete Jesus, watching indifferent. The world dissolved into fevered dreams, roots twisting through my veins. Voices howling like lost souls in a Tarantino flick. I woke up gasping, but it wasn't my cot. Silk sheets. A 4-poster bed overlooking Central Park. And in the mirror, Vanessa's face, sharp cheekbones, honey blonde waves. Those ice blue eyes that had stared down juries in Harlan's firm. The swap held. My old body, Reggie's husk, probably wheeled to the morgue by dawn. Chalked up to overdose. No one questions a junkie con's end. I was her now, Vanessa Kleinhale, 32, powerhouse attorney, mother of 2, darling of the Manhattan elite. Harlan snored beside me, oblivious, his hand possessive on my hip. I slipped out, heart pounding like a bass drop in a trap house, and raided her closet, Louboutins that pinched like regrets, a Chanel sheath that screamed untouchable. By breakfast, I was pouring mimosas for the nanny, cooing at little Harlan Jr. over organic waffles, all while plotting how to burn it down from the inside. First rule of revenge: know thy enemy. Vanessa's life was a glossy Instagram feed, brunches at St. Ambrius, charity galas where she auctioned off justice for the highest bidder. But under the veneer?
Cracks.
Harlan's firm, Hale and Associates, was knee-deep in the same muck Dad had drowned in, laundering for Russian oligarchs, bribing zoning boards for luxury condos that displaced Queens families. Vanessa wasn't just complicit, she'd architected half of it. Her Yale law degree a weapon sharper than Harlan's schmoozing. I started small, testing the waters. At a partner's dinner in the Rainbow Room, I accidentally let slip a detail about a Cayman account during small talk with the SEC liaison. Nothing traceable. Just enough to plant the seed. Harlan shot me a look, half amused.
How very, Van.
You're tipsy. I laughed it off, all throaty charm. But inside, I savored the flicker of doubt. That night, in our king-sized bed, he reached for me like always, routine, mechanical. I faked the moans, my mind replaying the clang of prison gates. The way Mom's letter had smelled like lavender and lies. We forgive you, Esther. Move on. Forgiveness? I'd choke on that word. Next, I dug into the family vault, literally. Vanessa's safe, hidden behind a Rothko knockoff, held the dirt, emails from Mom, post-trial, thanking Harlan for handling Essie so neatly. Photos of Dad's suicide scene, staged cleaner than a mob hit. And the kicker, a trust fund doc showing they'd funneled my inheritance into little Harlan's Ivy League future. I'd been erased. My name scrubbed like a felony record. The betrayal hit like a gut punch.
But it fueled me.
I needed allies, not friends. Enter Marcus Reed, Vanessa's discreet consultant, a fixer from the old neighborhood, Brooklyn-born and bred, with a Rolodex of hackers and hitmen. I met him in a dim Soho speakeasy, nursing a Negroni while he eyed me like a marked card. Mrs.
Hale.
This better be worth my Friday. I slid him a thumb drive, Reggie's old contacts, laundered through my swap haze. I want dirt on my husband. The kind that sticks. Marcus grinned. All gold tooth and street wisdom. Husbands are easy. Families? That's Shakespeare shit. He delivered in weeks. Audio of Harlan betting his paralegal in the firm bathroom. Transcripts of Mom wiring hush money to a juror from my trial. But the real bomb? Proof that Dad hadn't pulled the trigger. Harlan had. A struggle. A planted gun. And a narrative spun faster than a Fox News cycle. My suicide dad was murder. Courtesy of the brother who'd cried on CNN. Rage boiled. But I played it cool. Controversial decision 1. I slept with Marcus. Not for kicks, for leverage. In his walk-up overlooking the Gowanus Canal, amid the scent of weed and take-out lo mein, I let him think it was passion. Really? It was insurance, a recorded pillow talk where he spilled on Harlan's offshore slush funds. Blackmail's a hell of a aphrodisiac. Harlan noticed the distance. Of course. You're different lately?
Van.
Distracted. I smiled, tracing his jaw. Just ambitious. Darling. Like you taught me. Ambitious? Hell. I was a one-woman wrecking crew. I funneled firm cash into philanthropy, donations to anti-corruption NGOs. Timed to whistleblower leaks I'd anonymously fed the New York Times. Harlan's board meetings turned tense. Whispers of audits rippling like bad scotch. Mom called from Connecticut. Her voice all honeyed concern. Harlan says you're pushing too hard.
Dear.
Remember what happened to your sister-in-law's nerves? My sister-in-law? I nearly laughed. Esther's fine. Beatrice. Last I heard, she's planting tomatoes in oblivion. The tension coiled like a spring in a bad noir flick. At a family Easter brunch in the Hamptons, white tablecloths flapping in the salt breeze, kids hunting eggs on emerald lawns, I dropped the first real bomb. Over deviled eggs. I confessed a vague unease about the firm's ethics, citing that pesky SEC chit-chat. Harlan's fork froze midair. Mom's martini sloshed. Vanessa. Darling. That's not like you. I met her eyes. Unflinching. Maybe it is now. That night, Harlan confronted me in the guest cottage. His face flushed like a Wall Street bull. What the fuck are you playing at? I poured a scotch. Neat. And leaned in close. Just cleaning house. Brother dear. The slip, calling him brother, hung there, but he was too drunk on rage to catch it. He grabbed my wrist, hard enough to bruise. You're my wife. Act like it. I twisted free. My voice steel. Or what? You'll frame me like you did her. His eyes widened, then narrowed. Paranoia was my new best friend. As summer bled into fall, the noose tightened. Marcus's hackers breached the firm's servers, exposing emails that linked Harlan to Dad's suicide, a struggle over the gun. Harlan's prints wiped but not perfectly. I leaked it to a podcaster, The Klein Conspiracy, framing it as a grieving widow's doubt. The internet erupted. Justice for Esther trended. Armchair detectives dissecting Mom's crocodile tears. Harlan lawyered up, but the damage stuck, clients bailing, stocks dipping like a bad acid trip. Controversial decision, too. I targeted the kids. Not harm. God. No, but exposure. I accidentally left Harlan Jr.'s iPad open to the leaks during a playdate, letting 8-year-old eyes glimpse Uncle Harlan's naughty secrets. The boy came home wailing, and therapy bills piled up. Harlan blamed me. Of course. You're poisoning them, he roared in couples counseling. The therapist droning about communication. I wept crocodile tears. All Vanessa fragility. Inside, I toasted to the fracture. Mom was next. Her garden club gossip turned toxic when I donated her charity's ledger to a forensic accountant. Millions donated, that looped back to Hale Holdings. Widows and orphans shortchanged while she lunched on lobster rolls. The society pages crucified her, heiress of hypocrisy. She called, sobbing. How could you? Vanessa? After all we've done for you. I cooed sympathies, then hung up and torched her heirloom rose bushes in a freak fire. Poetic.
Right?
The seed she'd given me, twisted. By Thanksgiving, the empire cracked. Harlan's firm faced federal probes. Mom retreated to a spa in Sedona. For her health, I played the steadfast wife, testifying in depositions with wide-eyed innocence. But the swap whispered doubts, nights when my reflection flickered. Esther's brown eyes bleeding through Vanessa's blue. Reggie's ritual wasn't eternal. The body rebelled in twitches. Migraines like lightning storms. Marcus noticed, his touch turning clinical. You ain't her. Are you? Some kind of ghost. I silenced him with cash and a threat. Ghosts don't pay.
Marcus.
Keep digging. The climax brewed in December. Snow blanketing Manhattan like a shroud. Harlan, cornered and feral, invited me to the penthouse for one last talk. The kids were with nannies. Mom was MIA. He paced the living room, skyline glittering like fool's gold beyond the windows. It's you, isn't it? The leaks, the doubts, all you. I poured bourbon, steady as a surgeon. Prove it. He lunged then, not with fists but words, a confession ripped from booze and desperation. I did it for us.
Fun.
Dad was tanking everything. Esther. She was collateral. Weak link. Collateral. My sister. Rage surged, pure and volcanic. Controversial decision 3. I pulled the trigger. Not literally. Vanessa's pearl-handled derringer from the safe, pressed to his temple in a blur of motion. Say her name, I hissed. Esther. His eyes bulged, realization dawning too late. The shot echoed, muffled by the storm. Blood sprayed the abstract art, but I stepped back clean, no gore on my conscience, just the math of justice. I staged it masterfully, suicide note on his phone. Typed in his haste, can't lose it all. The cop spotted hook. Line. Sinker, grieving widow. Impeccable alibi with the sitter. Mom arrived the next day, face ashen under her Chanel veil. Harlan. Oh God. She clutched me, and for a heartbeat, I almost pitted her. Almost. But pity's for the living. With Harlan gone,
Hale Holdings scrambled, assets frozen.
boards scattering like roaches, I liquidated what I could, funneling it to a ghost account for Esther Klein's redemption fund. Mom confronted me in the funeral parlor, rain lashing the stained glass. You did this. I see it in your eyes, they're wrong. I smiled, cold as a winter gale. Eyes change. Beatrice. People too. The twist hit like a freight train. As the feds closed in on the firm's rot, they unearthed not just Harlan's sins, but Dad's full ledger and Vanessa's. Turns out, the real architect, the one who'd tipped Reggie's back, my sweet sister-in-law herself, not out of virtue, but to cover her own tracks. She'd been skimming since Yale, using Harlan as a front. Dad found out. Harlan killed to protect her secret. And me, the fall guy, because Vanessa whispered in Mom's ear, Esther's unstable. She'd crack under pressure. The truth reversed everything. I wasn't just avenging betrayal. I was dismantling a lie built on my bones. But Vanessa? She'd been the serpent all along. In the swap's final throes, as my body rebelled harder, seizures in boardrooms, visions of Reggie's grin, I confronted the mirror one last time. Esther stared back, faint but fighting. The ritual was unraveling. Soon, I'd snap back. Or shatter. Controversial decision 4. I chose the seed. Not bullets or bars, but exposure. I leaked it all. Podcasts, press conferences, a tell-all ghostwritten as Vanessa's confession. Mom OD'd on Xanax in Sedona. Ruled accidental. The fortune? Donated to victims' funds. With a codicil for that Texas tomato patch, a community garden for ex-cons. Named Klein Rebirth.
Now.
6 months on. I'm back in my skin, Esther Klein. Paroled on new evidence, the swap's echo fading like a bad dream. The ticket? I burned it. But the seed sprouted in Ohio soil. Vines twisting toward the sky. A happy ending? Ask the families I ruined. The kids without a dad. The widow who stares at gravestones. Or ask me, sipping black coffee in a diner booth, wondering if revenge tastes like ashes or freedom. You decide. The garden bloomed defiant that spring. Tomatoes fat and red as fresh accusations, mocking the headlines that still splash my name across tabloids like confetti from hell. Klein heiress returns, victim or vengeful? The New York Post loved it. Plastering my mug, Esther's real one. All soft jaw and wary brown eyes, next to Vanessa's ghost. Her obituary photo airbrushed to sainthood. I clipped them all, pinning them to the trailer wall in Youngstown, Ohio, where the steel mills coughed smoke like old regrets. Parole had dumped me here, in the shadow of the Mahoning River, with a stipend from the Victims Fund and a therapist who droned about closure like it was a spa treatment. Closure? That word was a joke, bitter as the instant Folgers I choked down at dawn. The swap had left scars, invisible ones. Mostly. Nightmares where Vanessa's voice echoed in my skull, whispering boardroom deals and bedroom lies. My hands trembled sometimes. Fingers too long, too manicured in memory. And the eyes mine now, but haunted, like I'd borrowed hell and forgotten to return it. I'd flown commercial back east, crammed in coach like the nobody they made me, the plane dipping through turbulence that mirrored my gut. Harlan's funeral replayed in loops, the Derringer's cold kiss on his temple. His final gasp, Essie? As recognition dawned. I'd fled the penthouse in a cab, snow whipping like furies, straight to a storage unit where Marcus waited, his face a mask of what the fuck. You capped him? For real? I'd shoved cash his way, the last of Vanessa's emergency stash. Wipe the feeds. And get me a new face, papers, not plastic.
He did.
Smuggling me to a Jersey safe house run by ex-cops gone rogue. There, amid the hum of space heaters and takeout grease, I waited out the ritual's backlash. The body swap hangover hit hard, fevers that burned like swamp fire. Visions of Reggie's corpse twitching in a Huntsville slab. But worse, the doubt. Had I gone too far? Harlan deserved it. Murder? Thief. The brother who'd hugged me at Dad's wake while plotting my fall. Yet, as the news broke Hale's suicide, I saw the ripples, his kids, pale and parentless, shuttled to Mom's echoing estate. Little Harlan Jr., who'd once called me Auntie Essie before the trial erased me, now orphaned by my hand. Guilt? Sure. It gnawed like termites in drywall. But betrayal's a sharper blade. Mom's autopsy, accidental. They said, revealed empty pill bottles and a note. Forgive me, children. The lies were heavier than I knew.
Lies.
She'd known about the framing, the murder, Vanessa's schemes. Hell, she'd suggested the seed packet. A twisted, fresh start, laced with pesticide irony. I'd visited her grave incognito, weeds choking the marble, and spat. Plant your own damn tomatoes now. Freedom tasted like rust. Parole hearing in March, greased by the podcaster's exposé, Justice for Esther had morphed into a movement. Petitions flooding the governor's desk. The board saw a reformed woman, broken by the system. I played it meek, teary eyes, Bible quotes, the works. Inside, I cataloged their faces for the sequel nobody asked for. Back in Youngstown, I rebuilt piecemeal. The garden was therapy, dirt under nails grounding me when the shakes hit. Neighbors nodded warily. Heard you were inside. Hun, but the fund money bought silence and a rusty Ford pickup. I drove it to Cleveland twice a week, tailing loose ends. Marcus had vanished, but his network hummed. Whispers of Hale Holdings' carcass picked clean by vultures. Assets auctioned to pay restitution. One loose end itched worst. Vanessa's sister, Lydia, a trust fund echo who'd inherited the Hamptons' house and a grudge. Lydia had been the one to discover Dad's body. Her 911 call, Oscar-worthy. Post-suicide, she lawyered up, suing the estate for emotional distress. I parked outside her yoga studio in Soho, watching her unroll mats in Lululemon bliss. All blonde ambition and green juices. Controversial decision 5. I sent her the seed. Not the packet, a single tomato for my patch. Shipped anonymous with a note. Taste the family secret.
She bit.
Of course. A week later, her Twitter imploded. Photo of the fruit. Captioned poison gift? Klein curse. Paranoia spread. She lawyered harder, dragging the kids into depositions. I watched from afar, nursing a bud at a dive bar. The TV blaring her tearful interview. Someone's targeting us. The ghost of Esther Klein.
Ghost.
If only she knew. The real haunt came in May, when the feds knocked. Not for me, for the swap's fallout. Reggie's death. Ruled OD. Had threads, a guard's testimony about weird chanting in the chapel. They grilled me in a fluorescent interrogation room. Coffee stale as suspicion. MS. Klein. You ever hear of soul swaps? Bayou bullshit. I blinked innocent. Sounds like prison tall tales. Officer. I stuck to books. They let me walk. But the seed was planted, doubt in their eyes, mirroring mine. Nights blurred into bourbon haze. I'd crank Springsteen on the truck radio. Born to run, howling as I cruised the riverfront. Memories crashing like waves. Dad's laugh in the garage, teaching me carburetors. Harlan's betrayal grin at prom, stealing my date for kicks. And Vanessa, God, the irony. In her skin, I'd felt power, the kind that bent rooms.
Now.
Stripped bare. I was just Esther, 30-something felon, garden witch. Revenge's hollow echo. Controversial decision 6. I reached out to the kids. Not direct, too raw, but through a proxy. A social worker from the fund. Letters. And signed. Your auntie misses you. Plant this seed. It'll grow strong. Harlan Jr. Replied via the worker. Crayon scrawl. I hate secrets. Are you real? My heart cracked like old pavement. Real? I'd killed their world for truth's sake. Was that love or lunacy? Summer sweltered, the garden exploding in vines that strangled the chain link. I harvested, canning sauce in steam-filled hours. The tang a reminder. Everything rots eventual. Lydia escalated then, her lawsuit morphing into a tell-all book pitch, The Hales, Dynasty of Deceit. Publishers circled like sharks. I countered subtle, anonymous tips to her agent about Lydia's own skeletons, a DUI cover-up, affair with the firm's junior partner. The deal fizzled. She spiraled, checking into rehab amid paparazzi flashes. By Labor Day, the empire's ghosts converged. A letter arrived, postmarked Sedona, Mom's effects, auctioned off. Inside, her diary, leather-bound and damning. Pages of regret. Harlan forced my hand on Essie. Vanessa pulled the strings, girls of Viper and Silk, and a photo, tucked between me. Pre-trial. Hugging Dad. Vanessa photobombed in the background, her smile a knife's edge. The twist deepened. Vanessa hadn't just skimmed, she'd seduced Dad years back. A teen intern crush turned leverage. He'd confessed to Mom. Harlan killed to bury it. The family fortune? Built on her ambition. My innocence the mortar. I burned the diary in the backyard pit, flames dancing like Reggie's laugh. But the photo? I framed it, hung crooked on the trailer wall. Reminder, revenge circles back, biting its tail. Fall leaves turned the river blood orange, and with them, my resolve frayed. The fund dried up, donors balking at the killer's kin. Bills piled. I waitressed at a Milltown diner, slinging hash to truckers who leered and lied. One night, a regular, tattooed vet named Tommy caught my drift. You got that look, sweetheart. Like you ate the devil and shat out thorns. I laughed.
Bitter.
Close enough. He became a fixture. Beers at the VFW. Stories of nom ghosts. Controversial decision 7, I told him. Not all, just the swap. The shot. The seeds. He listened. No judgment. Then slid me a .45 from his glove box. Tools for the trade.
S.
But mercy's the real killer.
Mercy.
That word haunted as winter loomed. Lydia surfaced again, sober and spiteful, petitioning to adopt the kids. Auntie's duty. I could have stopped it, leaks on her instability, but I didn't. Let her have the ruins. I'd sown enough salt. The climax redux hit on All Hallows' Eve. Wind howling like banshees off the lake. A knock rattled the trailer. Lydia, drenched and deranged, clutching a knife from Mom's kitchen set. You. The tomato, it was you. Wasn't it? Esther's back. Poisoning us. Her eyes wild. Mascara rivers. I backed in. Hands up. Tommy's .45 cold in the cookie jar. Lydia. Listen. She lunged, ranting about curses. Vanessa's suicide a setup. The struggle was brief. Pathetic. Knife glancing my arm.
Shallow red line.
I wrestled it free, pinning her to the linoleum, breath ragged. It ends. LYD. The lies, all of them. She sobbed then, collapsing. She made me. Vanessa. Said you'd destroy us if we didn't bury you. I called the cops anonymous. From a burner. She got a psych hold. The kids. Foster drift.
Me?
I bandaged the cut. Stared at the blood. First real since the swap.
Alive. Human. Now.
As snow dusts the garden's bones, I pack the truck. The ticket's ash. But the road calls California. Maybe. Where palms hide sins. The fortune's gone. Scattered like seed on wind. Happy? Tragic? Ask the vines. Twisting eternal. Or ask me. Throttle open. Chasing dawn. You tell me. Dawn broke cold over the interstate. The Ford's wipers slapping rhythm like a heartbeat on meth. Smearing bug guts and doubt across the windshield. I'd bolted Youngstown at midnight. Lydia's breakdown echoing like a bad acid flashback. The trailer locked with a for sale sign flapping defiant. California or bust, prompted by a postcard from an old prison pen pal. Rita. Promising son and second acts in a Venice Beach co-op for ex-cons. The .45 road shotgun. Unloaded now. A talisman more than threat. Tommy's goodbye. A six-pack and a shrug. Road's your confessor.
S.
Don't let it preach. The drive blurred states. Pennsylvania's rust. Ohio's flats. Indiana's corn-whispering betrayals. Radio preached alt-rock anthems. Nirvana's smells like Teen Spirit on loop. Cobain's Snarl My Anthem. Here we are now. Entertain us.
Yeah. Kurt.
The world's a stage. And I'd played the fool. The villain. The ghost. Sleep came in truck stops. Fitful under fluorescent buzz. Dreams of swaps where bodies piled like cordwood. Dad's slumped form. Harlan's vacant stare. Mom's pill-scattered vanity. Rita met me at a In-N-Out off the 101. Her hug bone-crush fierce. Tattoos blooming like wildflowers on sun-leathered arms. Esther Klein. The legend herself. Justice for You still trends. Chica. The co-op was a ramshackle stucco haven. Yoga mats on sagging porches. Murals of phoenixes rising from oil spills. My room, a cot overlooking the Pacific. Waves crashing like applause for the damned. Venice swallowed me gentle at first. Boardwalk buskers strummed Dylan covers. Skaters zipped past with easy grace I envied. I waitressed at a vegan joint. The enlightened fork, slinging kale smoothies to influencers who name-dropped my saga like brunch gossip. Oh my god. You're her, the body swap girl? Wait. Was it real? I'd wink.
Pour extra ou à tes milk.
Real enough to haunt. But ghosts don't stay buried. Emails trickled, the podcaster. Begging a sequel interview. Lawyers sniffing for class action scraps from Hale's corpse. And Lydia out on bond. Her cease and desist laced with venom. Stay west. Which? The kids are mine. I deleted. But the hook sank deeper. Controversial decision 8. I hired a PI. Low-rent ex-cop named Sal. To shadow her. Just eyes. No hands, I told him over Zoom. My face pixelated in the co-op's Wi-Fi dead zone. Sal delivered weekly. Lydia lawyering at a boutique firm. Schmoozing judges for custody. The kids in private school. Therapy-mandated smiles masking trauma. Harlan Jr. Drew pictures of mean aunties. One with my brown eyes. Guilt twisted anew. Sharp as the knife scar fading on my arm. I'd avenged. But at what cost? A generation scarred. Echoes of my own erasure. Rita pulled me into the co-op's trauma circles, hippie speak for group therapy. Sage smudging the air like bad pot. We shared war stories. Hers. A botched bank job in '09, mine. The sanitized version, no swaps. Just corporate frame-up. The circle nodded. Passing crystals like contraband. You're a survivor. Esther. Intoned the facilitator. A dreadlocked vet. Survivor. Felt more like scavenger. picking bones from the feast I'd torched. Fall crashed in with Santa Annis, winds howling secrets through palm fronds. Sal's report escalated, Lydia digging my past, subpoenaing prison records, sniffing for swap lore. She's obsessed.
Boss.
Thinks you're possessed.
Possessed.
Close enough. Reggie's vial lingered in my veins. A low hum like tinnitus from the grave. Migraines returned. Visions flickering. Vanessa's laugh in boardrooms. Harlan's plea. Essie. Morphing to accusations. Controversial decision 9. I dosed again. Not full ritual. Too risky, but a drop of the remnant vial. Smuggled west in a Altoids tin. Mixed in black coffee at dawn. It hit like lightning, clarity razor-sharp. Then chaos. I saw threads unseen, Vanessa's Yale thesis. Plagiarized from Dad's notes, Mom's suicide note forged in Lydia's hand. A mercy kill to silence her. The family wasn't just rotten, it was a cult. Vanessa the high priestess. Harlan the enforcer. Mom the acolyte. Me the sacrifice. The vision peaked on the boardwalk. Waves, thundering judgment. I collapsed amid drum circles. Rita dialing 911. Our docs chalked it stress-induced episode, pumped me full of Ativan. But I knew the swap wasn't done. Bodies yearned for equilibrium. Mine pulled Esther's soul tighter. But Vanessa's echo clawed back. A parasite in the marrow. Discharged, I ghosted the co-op for a motel on the pier. Neon vacancy buzzing like flies. Sal called. Lydia's flying out. Private jet. Tomorrow. Says she's confronting the demon. Demon. I loaded the .45. Chambered rounds that clicked like fate. The pier stretched empty at dusk. Salt air thick with brine and dread. She arrived in Lululemon armor. Heels sinking in sand. Eyes wild under street lamp glow. Esther. Her shriek cut the wind. Give her back. My sister's body. Yours is filth.
Filth.
I stepped from shadows. Gun loose at my side. Vanessa's dead. LYD. I buried her sins. She charged. Fists flying, suburban fury. All nails and no aim. We tumbled to the boards. Her screams mingling with gulls. You stole it. The power. The life. Thief. The struggle blurred. Her knee in my gut. My elbow to her jaw. The .45 skittered away. Waves lapping hungry. Pinning her. I hissed truths. The plagiarism. The forgeries. Dad's affair twisted to control. She used you. LYD. We were all pawns. She bucked.
Sobbing.
Liar. You're the curse. The seed that poisoned everything. Controversial decision 10. I spared her. Not mercy, calculation. Handcuffing her with my belt, I dragged her to the motel's payphone. Dialing Sal. She's yours. Expose the rest. Cops swarmed by midnight. Lydia spilled under sodium lights. Vanessa's empire unraveling further. Hidden accounts. Coerced testimonies. The kids, relocated to neutral guardians. Therapy funded by the pot I stirred. Back at the co-op. Rita waited with tea and tough love. You can't outrun it.
S.
The revenge, it's you now. She's right. The garden in Ohio calls. Dormant but rooted. I booked a flight east. The ticket a circle closing. But the twist lingers. In the motel mirror. Post-scuffle. Vanessa's blue flickered through brown. The swap echoes eternal. Souls don't trade clean. Winter solstice nears. Shortest day. Longest shadows. I plant one last seed in a Venice pot. Tomato. Heirloom defiant. It sprouts green against the gray. A question mark in soil. Happy harvest? Or barren yield? The vines will tell. Or the wind. The flight back east was a red-eye purgatory. Turbulence jostling like divine mockery. The seatmate, a balding sales rep, droning about crypto crashes over peanuts. I tuned him out, staring at the seed in my palm. One survivor from the Venice pot, dry and unyielding, a talisman against the pole westward. Ohio waited, snow-blanketed and unforgiving. The trailer a beacon or a trap? Rita's parting gift? A burner phone and a warning. Roots run deep, but weeds choke 'em. Choose your soil.
Hermana.
Touchdown in Cleveland brought the chill bone deep. Wind off the lake slicing through my thrift store coat. The Ford waited in long term, iced over like a bad memory. I chipped the windows, engine coughing to life with a growl that matched my gut. Youngstown loomed 30 miles south, a Rust Belt relic where dreams go to die or rebirth, if you squint. The trailer sagged under fresh snow. For sale sign buried like a lie.
Inside.
Dust motes danced in flashlight beams, power cut for non-payment. The funds trickled dried to dust. I lit candles from the junk drawer, their flicker casting shadows that danced like family specters. Harlan's scowl, Mom's tremor, Vanessa's smirk. The fridge hummed empty. I cracked a can of beans cold, eating straight from tin. The salt a stand-in for tears I wouldn't shed. Sal's final report arrived via email on the burner. Lydia institutionalized, babbling about demons and doppelgangers. The kids? In a Pennsylvania foster with Hale cousins distant, decent folk who'd opted out of the fortune's poison. No contact, court sealed. Good. Let them grow straight, untwisted by our vines. Sleep evaded, the cot creaking under ghosts. Dawn brought decisions. Sell the rig, bolt south, or dig in. Tend the garden's corpse? Controversial decision 11. I chose roots. Borrowed a shovel from neighbor Earl, war vet, whiskey breath, and hacked at frozen earth. The seed packet's remnants scattered like confetti on graves. Soil turned black and grudging, but I planted anyway, whispering Reggie's mantra. Swap the skin. Claim the sin. Words spread slow in mill towns. Esther Klein. The comeback kid. Back to haunt or heal. Earl dropped venison stew at dusk. The diner rehired me part-time. Boss muttering, don't make me regret. Tips bought propane. The trailer warming to habitable haze. Nights. I wrote journal. Not tell-all. Pages spilling rage and regret. Sentences sharp as the .45, now buried under floorboards. The twist resurfaced in February. A letter postmarked Greenwich, from Harlan Sr.'s old solicitor. A fossil named Witherspoon. MS. Klein. Klein estate residuals. Residuals? I'd thought it ash. Enclosed, a deed to the Hamptons cottage, Dad's bolt hole. Pre-fall. Deeded to me secret. For the girl who keeps the books. Taxes unpaid. Foreclosure looming.
But mine.
Irony? The cottage where Vanessa honeymooned with Harlan. Toasting my incarceration with vintage Dom. I drove east. The Ford protesting snow-slicked turns. Arriving at dusk to a sagging shake shingle relic. Waves crashing judgment below.
Inside.
Dust-cloaked memories. Dad's rod rack. Mom's forgotten shawl. And in the attic trunk, letters mine to them. Pre-trial pleas returned unopened. I didn't do it. Please. The betrayal fresh slashed. I torched them in the hearth. Flames devouring pleas like so many lies. Controversial decision 12. I claimed it. Sold the trailer sight unseen. Funneled proceeds to fix the roof. Stock the larder. The cottage became hermitage, solar panels for light. A root cellar for cans. Neighbors, fishermen, and retirees. Nods over chowder at the local dockside dive. No questions, small-town code. Spring thawed the bluffs. Garden plots emerging like hesitant confessions. I planted the Venice seed there. Amid daffodils Dad loved. Vines creeping toward the sea. Migraines faded. But the echo lingered. Blue flecks in mirrors. Whispers of boardroom power. Vanessa's ghost? Or mine? Evolved? Summer bloomed scandal. The podcaster landed a Netflix deal. Klein. Swapped souls. Fictionalized slop. But it dredged Lydia's rants. She escaped the ward in June. Surfacing on YouTube. Esther's a vessel. The ritual, Bayou curse. Views exploded. Pilgrims trickled to the cottage. Gawking like it was Amityville. I barred the gate. But one, a grad student named Theo, all tweed and theories, charmed his way in with swamp lore books. Theo stayed weeks. Decoding Reggie's right. Not swap, merge. Souls entwine. Essences bleed.
Bleed.
Explained the hybrid haunts. My law firm lingo slipping into diner banter. Controversial decision 13. I let him in. Not bed, just brain. Nights by firelight. Debating ethics. Was revenge justice? Or just vengeance looped? You upended a dynasty, he'd say. Eyes alight. But the cost? Innocence frayed. Innocence. The kids' faces flashed. I poured more wine. Lydia struck in August. Storming the bluff with a ragtag cult, online weirdos. Chanting, exorcise the thief. Theo barricaded. I faced her on the porch. Wind whipping her hospital gown like a shroud. Give her back, she wailed. Pitchfork in hand, prop or threat. The faithful echoed. A mob of madness. I stepped forward. Voice steady. Vanessa's gone. LYD. Merged. We're all that's left, broken. But breathing. She charged. The scuffle brief. Waves drowning screams. Theo called sheriffs. Lydia cuffed. Raving to the end. The seed. It grows in you. Court committed her permanent. The cult dispersed. Whispers fading to myth. Fall gilded the vines. Tomatoes heavy with juice, sweet tart. Laced with salt air. Theo left for academia. Leaving books and a kiss that tasted like possibility. Write your truth. Esther. Not revenge, rebirth. Rebirth. The words stuck. Seed deep.
Now.
As frost nips the bluffs. I harvest alone. Canning in the cottage kitchen. Radio crooning Dylan. The times they are a-changin'. The fortunes echo fund scholarships. Ex-cons to law school. Irony's gift. The kids. Letters trickle. Guarded. We planted your seed. It grew funny. 2 fruits. 1 vine.
2.
Merged. Happy? The vines laugh. Twisting toward light. Tragic? The ghosts sigh. Fading on wind. Debatable. Darling, like America itself. All grit and glory. Betrayal and bloom. I bite a tomato. Juice bursting warm. 7 words changed everything. Swap with the bitch who stole my life. 8 more seal it, I took it back. And kept the thorns. The end?
Nah.
Just the hook for what's next.